Namaste, my friends. Welcome to Bhakti Yoga Conference, Grace in an Age of Distraction, hosted here at Harvard Divinity School. My name is Happy Jack. I'm the founder of Happy Jack Yoga University and a Master of Divinity student here at Harvard. And this is our chance to connect with sincere practitioners of Bhakti Yoga. I'm looking around here in the Zoom room with us. Many of you have been here on literally every call, which is incredible. And of course, the majority watching live from home or watching the recording. We've got over 3,500 registrants as of now. And it's a beautiful chance to hear from monks and scholars and yoga teachers and thought leaders and musicians, and actually people living it every day and really making a difference in the world. And that's the case with our guest today, who we'll introduce in a moment. Please, if you have questions, this is going to be an interactive session. So for those who have a question, if something comes on your heart, raise your virtual hand, share it in the chat. We would love to hear from you. I will spotlight our dear friend as we read the bio. This is Sita Devi Dasi, a beautiful soul. She's also goes by Dr. Sandhya Subramanian. She's a BDS dental surgery, Master of Science of Psychotherapy and Counseling, and a qualified dentist. Yet she's so passionate about also working with the environment and youth, and in particular with women. She started the Bhaktivedanta Hospital Youth Foundation, under which she conducts the AIDS Awareness Counseling Program for youth based on culture and traditional value systems of India for a decade, and has impacted almost 50,000 youth. She initiated other projects such as anti-plastic campaigns and tree plantation drives engaging youth from 50 schools and colleges in Mumbai. Spiritually, she's a sincere practitioner of Bhakti Yoga for the past 32 years. She presently heads the Women Empowerment and Skills Development Program for rural women at Radhanath Swami's Eco Village just outside of Mumbai. Many of you are going to be coming to the Eco Village with us later this year, and you will get to meet Sita Devi Dasi. This program, the Women's Empowerment Program, assists local women with respect to various aspects, such as spirituality, health, poverty, alleviation, food security, and teaching them to make a livelihood through skills such as stitching, painting, handicrafts, and food production. As a trained dentist, she gives free treatment and awareness talks in the villages about general health and hygiene. She conducts workshops and seminars and conducts counseling and psychotherapy, especially for women's issues. She's participated in many conferences and seminars, such as the Nexus Conference, Eco-Theology Conference, organized by Yale University at GEV, and now also Harvard Divinity School. She's also presented at Bhakti Fest, a Bhakti Yoga and Kirtan event near LA since 2016. And the title of our session today is Empowering Women, a Personal Journey into Bhakti Yoga. My friends, if you are ready to get started and meet this beautiful soul, Sita Devi Dasi, throw your arms in the air and loudly chant, Haribol! Beautiful. So happy to have you here with us, Sita. And I'll just say, a few words. We met the first time a few years ago at Super Soul Farm, just crossed paths on retreat. You connected with myself and actually Hanna, who's here with us. And we just had a really beautiful connection. And then we crossed paths again in Govardhan Eco Village last summer and again in January. And it just seems like, I don't know, each time we have cross paths, we get this feeling we're going to do something together. We're meant to somehow connect or collaborate. And for us, that's very inspiring, just seeing the work that you're doing, at Govardhan Eco Village and in these tribal villages, the rural villages in India. And so right now, we're just super honored to have you here with us. Welcome to Harvard Divinity School.
Hare Krishna, everyone who's here on call today. I'm so happy to be with you. And yes, truly, Jack, I felt that there was a connection, a very, very spiritual connection between us. And I feel as if I've seen your journey right before my eyes, how you have, evolved so much spiritually over the years that I've met you. And I think today is the day which has come true, that we are here together on this Bhakti conference and meeting so many wonderful students connected to Harvard University. And I'm feeling very, very happy and honored. Thank you.
Wow, so beautiful. It's such a breath of fresh air, being here with you. And you're doing such important work. And obviously, we want to get into that and talk about that. Yet before we do, we find it really helpful to get to know the speakers and really what brought them to this path. So now I see you as you've seen most of my bhakti, yoga journey, right? It's like the last 5 years. You've been doing this 32 years. And so before all of these big initiatives, what is it that brought you to this spiritual path? I mean, of course, you were born in India, which is a very spiritual land, but what brought you to spirituality and bhakti?
So, Jack, I would like to tell you that I started my journey in India. Though I was born and brought up in India, you will be surprised to know that as a teenager and as a young person, I was completely, blank, you can say, about our spiritual culture of India. I had so many questions that were unanswered, and there came a time in my life, especially when I was in my dental school, you know, in my 20s. Actually, I think I came to a situation where I went into such anxiety and depression, because I was looking for answers, within me. I was so dissatisfied because I was in one of the most prestigious schools in India, but still I felt so unhappy, as if there is something missing in life. And those questions, somehow, though being in Indian culture, born in a Brahminical family, uh, nobody could answer those questions because everything was so ritualistic. So that's what I really understood at that time. I mean, that, spirituality and ritualistic religion is is completely different from each other.
Mm,
And if you really want satisfaction, really want to really feel that connection, you really need to uh, get all your answers from the right source. And unknowingly, I think, every spiritual journey starts within your heart when you are actually praying sincerely, for an answer. So I was looking in my heart for a place where I can feel safe, where I can feel happy, and I can feel, really feel that connection. So I was really looking for that. And you know what our spiritual scriptures say?
mm,
The the scriptures in the Vedic scriptures say that when you are ready, when the time is right, the and when you are sincerely seeking God, God Himself arranges that He sends His representatives in your life, so that you you can awaken, your eyes open with knowledge. And that's how the spiritual teachers are described in the Vedic scriptures. That there is a beautiful verse which glorifies our spiritual teachers, and they are they are described as, you know uh, those people who can remove the darkness with the light of knowledge in your life.
mm.
So that's how a spiritual teacher is described. And I was very, very fortunate in the dental school when I was in my final year, in the most difficult time of my life. I met my spiritual teacher, and who is none other than His Holiness Radhanath Swami. But there was a very, very dramatic, dramatic entry of my spiritual teacher into my life, because at that time, can I tell you this story?
Please,
It's really
please,
interesting,
yes.
right? Because at that time, I was part of a youth uh, movement. Like, actually, we started a um, in our college, in the dental school, we started a campaign against the dean of the college. Can you believe that? Because he was actually like a tyrant, and he was harassing the students, especially the girls. He was also sexually harassing, and there was a whole movement. And I personally, I didn't have anything. He had not done anything to me, but for me, I had this sense of injustice. Fighting for women's rights, right, right, as early as that time. I felt that if somebody is doing something wrong, to a woman, I should stand up for it. So that's how I became part of that youth campaign against the dean, which you can imagine, it's the most uh, a strict no for a student who is in the final year, who has to complete the degree and get into the professional field. And he was so powerful that if he would have failed this campaign, he would have ruined all our careers.
Wow.
But at that moment of my life, when I was going through, such an anxiety, but I was like standing up against this. We were few people who were standing up against, and I was leading the campaign, and uh, all the young students, we convinced them to actually go on a like on a strike. What we mean is like boycotting college.
Mm.
So we were sitting outside the college, and we were kind of holding a protest march, or in India, hunger strikes are very famous, started by Mahatma Gandhi
Yeah.
in protest. So it's like, you fast, you sit outside, and you take a vow of fasting the whole day in protest against the dean. So I was selected to, sit out on that particular day in protest. And just a day before that, I was lucky that at the right moment, when near my hostel, just a day before, there was going to be a Bhagavad Gita class, a course. And I just happened to go there to, you know, give some clothes for ironing or something like that. And that was the day that Radhanath Swami was coming for that class. So I was so attracted to the chanting of the holy names. He was singing so beautifully, glorifying, and these beautiful sacred chants and hymns. They were so powerful. It's like I felt as if I found myself being drawn towards it, like as if I'm being connected in my past life or something like that. I'd never heard it before.
Wow.
But I guess that, uh, and then much later I realized, when I read the Bhagavad Gita, and when I read that the path of bhakti actually starts lifetimes before, and this is just a journey. And I felt at that time a kind of a connection. I ran inside that building where, the course was going on, because it was attracting me. I came running inside, and I sat, and for the first time I saw Radhanath Swami, and I heard about the soul and the body, which is like the basic teaching of Bhagavad Gita. What is the soul? What is the body? What is the connection between the soul and the body? And for me, it was like a paradigm shift, like my whole, the way I viewed life before that completely changed, because I understood about the soul for the first time, that we are not this body. We are actually eternal souls, part and parcel of God. And just like that, all the misery, all the tension and all the stress that I was going through just completely evaporated. And unfortunately, I had to rush out of that lecture which Radhanath Maharaj was giving, and because the hostel doors close, at 9, and girls cannot stay out of the hostel after 9. So I had to walk out of that, but I still remember that I felt as if he's talking to me. That's the power of a spiritual being, because they are so powerful. They actually connect straight to your soul. Like he could see through me to my soul, and I felt as if he's speaking to me. And I felt, how can I just walk out? So I still remember I walked backwards all the while looking at him in the eye. And I was like, I walked backwards and I left the room. That was funny. But yeah, on that day, I, I think that was like the beginning of my spiritual life, because unknowingly all my life I was really craving for that. I was looking for that. And that was the day when I really uh, met my spiritual teacher. But I didn't know that he's going to be my spiritual teacher for life. I just took a small book on that day, which had the address of the temple, which is there in Mumbai. Many of you must have visited that, the Radha Gopinath temple, and a small sticker with the address. That's it. And over the weekend, I decided to find my way and go to that temple. And so I still remember, as I was asking people, for the address and, walking towards the temple, as soon as I neared the temple, the same chanting started again. And
Mm.
again, the same reaction through my body. I could feel as if something is pulling me, run, run, run. I, I still remember I started running towards the temple. I ran all the way up the steps, and I still remember I entered the temple running. And I was so embarrassed because everybody was looking at me, because I entered into this big hall which filled with people running at top speed. And I just stopped suddenly and I sat in the corner. And then again, I saw Radhanath Maharaj, my spiritual teacher, gave an amazing, beautiful, heart opening lecture again. And after the lecture, I could see that everybody was going towards him to offer their respects. Because this is the Indian culture that when you go to a temple and when you hear from a holy soul, you have to go and offer your respects. So everybody was going. So even I went near him and I just bowed my head, and I looked up at him. And as soon as I looked up, I felt, and he was looking straight into my eyes. And you know what he said after that? He said, "So, are you happy now?" And as soon as he said that, tears started flowing from my eyes. There was no reason for me to cry. I just didn't know. It's like you never do things like this where you suddenly burst out crying. I mean, it was something very, very new experience for me, that unknowingly tears were flowing through my eyes and started flowing. And I was so overwhelmed. And I just kind of got up and left from there.
Wow.
But I felt at that time, that truly there is a connection, because he just knew exactly, how my state of mind was, that I was so unhappy and I was uh, so stressed. Anyway, so this is how I met, and my journey began.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing it. We can just like feel the energy. It's like you're going back to that moment and feeling it, and it's just channeling through you in this moment. Like like I'm getting a sense of that encounter with Radhanath Swami just by the way that you articulate it. One thing you said, Sita, is that when we're ready or when we're sincerely seeking, that's when the spiritual teacher comes into our life. And in a way, I mean, as I hear your beautiful story, in a way, you weren't necessarily like looking for God. It's not like you were like trying to find God, but you were engaged in something really meaningful. You were embodying the principles and the virtues of bhakti, right? Selfless service and really doing the right thing. And so is it, so I'm just thinking for us listening, right? Because, we'll have a different life path, and, it might not go this way, likely won't. But do you think, you know, I guess some of us perhaps may be looking for God, but that's not the only way to spirituality, but rather doing the right thing or engaging in service, engaging in something that's like the right thing to do. Is that, maybe could you say a little bit more? Do you think, is that what kind of cultivated it and created this experience?
Yes, I agree in the sense that I can tell you something about me personally. As I said, I was not looking for God because I was not even aware of, uh, God of in my life. But one thing is that each one of us experiences challenges in life.
Yeah.
And it is said that only when you are in a crisis, that's when you, uh, you know, look for relief and look for God.
Mm.
When you're happy in life, that's not when that's the time when you tend to ignore, your inner uh, calling, the need of the soul. So it is said in Bhagavad Gita that four types of people really get connected to God or look for spirituality in their life. And one of them, the first one, is the one who is distressed. And of course, the other three is one who is in a really inquisitive person, or one who is really looking for knowledge. And the last is those who are having financial problems. So basically, everybody doesn't come into the category of really looking for God or looking for knowledge. Most of us are the ones who are distressed.
Yeah. That's,
If you go to see the common people, we are the ones, who turn to God or look for something only when you are in dire straits. So yeah, that's what the Bhagavad Gita says, that that's one way that your spiritual life can start. But yes, what you also pointed is like when a person is sincere,
mm,
sincerely having the mood of service, or sincerely uh, looking for something higher in life, awareness of some higher principles in life.
mm.
That's when the transformation happens.
That's
It
beautiful.
all begins with your thought, the desire to connect with God.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for that. I want to maybe just one more quick question before we shift to the really the main topic today. What does your practice look like today? So a little bit fast forward, we learned kind of what brought you there, and now 32 years later, you're at a different stage of life. Your daughter just got married. Congratulations. What is your, and you're you're not a monk. You're not living in an ashram. You live a life. You've got a profession. You've got a family. What does your practice look like today in Bhakti Yoga?
Yeah, because what we learned in bhakti is that anybody in any state of life can engage all the skills and talents and whatever you have, God gifted uh, abilities you have. Everything can be engaged in the service of God. I mean, that is the true meaning of bhakti, when you use whatever you have in the service of God. So I was a dentist, just freshly out of college. And I still remember I went to my guru, spiritual master, and said that, uh, what should I do? How can I, uh, how can I progress in my spiritual path? And he said that whatever skills you have learned, as a dentist, can be used to relieve the pain of others.
Mm.
So when you use your skills in the service, to relieve others' pain, then that activity becomes spiritual.
Wow.
So your whole life becomes a uh, a life of service, because your intention is not to see that, oh, I can become a dentist and earn lots of money.
Mm.
I can be so successful and I can work 24 hours, but the intention is just to earn money. But then that is not something satisfying to the heart. That will lead you, to a life of materialistic goals, which is not really going to give any happiness, true happiness. So he inspired me that, all the knowledge that you have, whatever skills, you can use it in the service, in the mood of service. That doesn't mean that you should not run your life. You need money, you need resources, but the goal should not be that. So
Yeah.
today I feel I'm very grateful because at a very young age I met, and I got the right direction in life. So I don't have any regrets, because I may not have become a billionaire or a billionaire dentist, but he always cracks a joke, on me when he said, Sita, you were studying you to be a dental doctor, but now you have become transcendental.
Yeah. That's way better. I love that.
So I think you're not a dentalist, you're a transcendentalist now.
Oh, that's good.
So that is such a wonderful direction, to get in life, where uh, so somehow then, bhakti is a path where you choose, and the basis or the foundation of that is service.
Mm.
You cannot be a devotee of God, or you cannot be a spiritualist, you cannot talk big things, you know unless you are on the ground. Your feet should be on the ground, your feet should be in the on this path of service. That's the foundation.
Yeah.
Because without that, you know there are many people who talk of spirituality, but it's more of um, just a show.
Yeah.
It can become just a show unless we understand that the basis and the foundation of bhakti is service, how we can give our life, you know, in the mood of service.
Mm. Beautiful.
And as you said, that's what actually attracts God into our life.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I see questions are coming in with virtual hands and in messages, but I want to actually, before we come to those questions, I want to shift to the main topic for today, and we have a very special video to share with you all. So I'm going to play this short video, and then Sita will have you share a few more words about the important work, and then we're definitely going to take these questions. So here we go.
If you want to transform the overall landscape of the country, then you have to work at the weakest elements. In India, the biggest challenge is how to really create impact in a sustainable manner in the villages.
Mainly the problem in this area, there is no water. There is a drought going on 6 months of the year. So this is really very difficult situation because only 6 months they are working, and 6 months when there is no water, they have no source of income because there is no farming to be done. Obviously, if 6 months there is no rains, then there is no work in the fields, then there is no food. So how will they earn their livelihood? They are below poverty line. So these people needed a lot of support, the women.
They need to be taken care. So we have very extensive women empowerment program where the women in the villages are encouraged to form self-help groups.
It's not just financial help. Women just don't need money. They need support, they need emotional care, they need security. That's what we established through this self-help group. So the idea was to get 10 women who stay in the same locality together.
And in these they come together and make all kinds of various items which could be sold.
We saw that many of the women had done sewing courses, but they didn't know how to use that skill in the right direction. So this was the next project that we started, that is the sewing workshop area. We are trying to support as many women who have the skill of sewing in their homes. We wanted to start a workshop where we could not only give them the skills of stitching and tailoring, but also a workshop where they can produce some products which we can market for them, and that way they get a regular livelihood.
And these women are also taught in all kinds of things like health and hygiene, so that they can improve the overall quality of their lives for the family.
We did a survey and we found out that the major issue among the women is anemia, which is low hemoglobin level. So we educate them through their diet first. We also, of course, test their blood. Those who have hemoglobin less than 8, we are giving them iron supplements. Women empowerment is not just for rural women or underprivileged women. Every woman needs to be part of this. By interacting with each other, by forming these kind of women's circles, I think we can really empower each other in the true sense. It is a right of every woman to feel valued. That's the first thing. To be valued and respected for whatever she is and whatever skills she has. Only when women come together, they can give that to each other.
Wow. So beautiful, Sita. I mean, literally, it brings me to tears just seeing the important work that's being done at Govardhan Eco Village and that you're heading up. Yeah, will you, I guess there's many questions on my heart. We have questions here, but first, can we give you some space to share about this program?
So yes, again, about 15 years back, I came to this uh, sudden inspiration, in my heart, because at that time there were a lot of news of farmers committing suicides in India due to failing of their crops, because of no water, because of famines. In Maharashtra, where we stay, near Mumbai, many of the farmers were committing suicide, and the news were full of these kind of very depressing news. And again, I felt, that we cannot just be on the sidelines, just showing pity, or without. If you really want to bring a change, you really need to go out of your comfort zone and really help, the farmers. So in my mind, I was thinking, how can I help? I've never gone to a village. And so again, I approached, for guidance. And that's when my spiritual teacher, Radhanath Swami, he said that very soon, even he was inspired to do something for the rural community. So he had a vision called the Prayag vision, which is like three rivers coming together in Prayagraj, where the Kumbh Mela just recently happened. And his vision was that just like the three beautiful rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati, come together and nourish, the people, his vision was that we can create a program uh, for the rural communities, which will empower them in a holistic way, not just materially, but even spiritually and in every way. In fact, that was the seed or the foundation of his vision of Govardhan Eco Village, where, so and as soon as I spoke to him that I want to do something in the villages, he immediately said that, yes, we must go uh, to the villages and see how we can make their lives better. So at that time, I just knew nothing other than dentistry. So I started going 2 hours drive from my home in the ambulance of the hospital which provided this vehicle, and I started voluntarily serving the villagers, checking their teeth and helping them, guiding them what treatment to do. And very soon we got a donor, and I started the first dental clinic in the village
Wow.
near Eco Village. It was just the beginning of the Govardhan Eco Village, and that's when we started this dental clinic. And at that time, I was meeting all the women of the villages because I was giving the treatment, almost free. Many of the village women would come because they would walk all the way to the clinic, and I would meet them and they would share with me all their challenges, like, that their husbands have left the villages and gone into the cities for work, and they are left alone with the children and they have no source of income sometimes, and they're struggling, uh, to make ends meet. And that's when, I got this inspiration that we should do something for empowering these women, because I could see that they were so enthusiastic, and though they were so poor, they were so resilient. They never, they expressed their desire that we want to do something so that we don't have to depend only on our husbands. And when I proposed this women empowerment program, at that time it was an idea which was like, something, uh, even the village men, they showed so much resistance in the beginning when we started going and meeting these women in the villages. Uh, they were looking down on us as saying that, oh, you are coming and meeting these women and wasting their time. They would rather be working in the fields, and earning some money, or, working. So I could see that uh, these women had such a desire to learn skills. They came and said that we are ready to learn skills so that we can make, stand on our own feet. And we started the first project where we uh, started teaching them how to paint these lamps, which could be distributed during Diwali all over. In India, people buy these lamps which they light. So in the beginning, the men were really resisting. They were looking at us as that these women, they don't have time for hobbies. They are struggling for life, for survival. And the first year, they made a whole batch of beautiful lamps. They hand painted them, and we distributed them in the cities and to all the people who came to the eco village. And for the first time, the women earned some money, and they could buy some beautiful gifts for their family, for the kids, new clothes for Diwali, the festival of lights. And after that, the men, they started coming to us and telling, please teach us also how to paint these lamps, because they could see that money is coming in. And there was such a paradigm shift, in their thinking. The men started valuing the women. The women then realized, that once they start earning their own money, they felt more empowered, and even the men started cooperating.
Mm.
So that was the vision of Radhanath Maharaj, that through 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 the path of Ganga, which is stands for rural empowerment, empowering women is a major way how we can influence the all the villages. Because once a woman is empowered and is confident, she can really bring transformation in the villages, and we have seen that today, that thanks to this Prayag project, where through Ganga we are doing women empowerment and rural empowering farmers, and through Saraswati, through that we are offering education and medical help to all the to all the villagers around, all the villages, around 50 or villages we have adopted around the eco village. So we do camps, like medical camps and dental camps. For 2 years, I did a camp going into each school and doing free dental checkup and treatment for the projects for the children in the schools, these village schools. And last is Yamuna River. Yamuna, under Yamuna is we also guide them spiritually. Every village we have spiritual talks. We have talks on devotion, bhakti, kirtans in every village. So in a holistic way, you know, we wanted to bring a transformation in their lives. So this is how this project today, it began in a very small way, but now we have a 75,000 square feet skill center, which has come up, which is offering skills to the tribal girls. And we have skills, more than 75 skills that we are offering there, such as electrical, welding, agricultural, food processing, tailoring, beauty parlor, massage therapy, English speaking, computers. So we have a whole skill center today, which is, giving this uh, vocational training to the tribal youth, the girls and the boys and the women, so that they can look forward to a better future. They can look forward to, leading a dignified life, an empowered life, standing on their own feet. This is what was the vision of uh, the foundation of Govardhan Eco Village. And now Govardhan Skill Center is a beautiful property, beautiful project with hostels for these tribal youth, different classrooms for teaching all these skills. And I would really like to invite all of you to come and visit our skill center, Govardhan Skill Center, which is empowering women, empowering youth, and making a big impact in the rural communities around Eco Village, the Govardhan Eco Village. So thank you very much. That I feel very, very honored, and I feel very, very grateful to be part of this endeavor, a small part, because life, is so insignificant. It very soon, it will end. But at least whatever time we have, if we can contribute, in some way to bring about a change in even one person's life, I think that's what makes our life successful, gives value to our life. So that is what is bhakti. And uh, I'm very, very blessed to be given this past 30 years a chance to practice bhakti in my life. And I want to invite all of you to really learn uh, this process of bhakti and make your life successful.
Wow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, so beautiful, Sita Devi Dasi. You're not a small contribution. Your presence today, your energy, your enthusiasm for this important work is making a big difference. And we're excited to say many of the yogis who are on this call with us right now are going to be coming to Govardhan Eco Village for our retreat in November. So we're going to meet you. We're going to go visit this skill center. I personally, I haven't been there yet, so I get to come. You bring us in the group. Really looking forward to that. And you also said, you said something powerful, that when women are confident and empowered, they can bring about change. And as you were saying that, I'm just like, it's oozing out of you. That is who you are, like such confidence, such empowerment, and such change that's happening. And of course, it's by the grace of Krishna and your spiritual teacher, and it's channeling through you clearly. And so thank you for sharing that with us. We have some questions on deck. So let us first get Sarah and George on the line. Welcome, Sarah and George.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hi, Sita. Thanks for coming and talking. I guess it's a slightly sideways question, but it's what is the role of women in Bhakti? Because we've been studying a lot of texts, particularly the Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, and a lot of it is fairly female unempowering, frankly. Obviously, it was written a long time ago, and the purport was written a long time ago, and we're obviously sort of transferring that. Can you talk a little bit about the role of women in Bhakti and how, we can become empowered?
And I guess how to interpret the text now then. So if you're reading the purports,
How to interpret
the text. So if you are, reading the purports, and it says that women are, very, very low,
And ignorant.
couldn't
Okay.
understand
The very
these texts, shouldn't read it, that kind of
this
thing.
text in
So,
Bhagavad, a particular text where I think which is a little controversial is that the women are considered less intelligent.
yes.
Yes.
I think that's a statement which triggers a lot of women, especially in the West. But it's in India, women understand that the meaning behind that verse, the actual understanding of why that verse was spoken in that way. In that verse, Krishna is actually saying that women, even though, see, we know that physically we have some limitations. Men and women are different. That doesn't mean that women are less in any way, because what we can do, men cannot do. We can raise kids, we can produce children, which they cannot, and that needs an immense amount of strength. So when they were put into in this verse, it did not mean that they are less intelligent in the way that they cannot, that they don't have brains or intelligence. It was meaning to say in those times, the women are less philosophical or into too much of uh, you know knowledge. They are more emotional. They are very emotionally. Their emotional EQ is higher. So Krishna wanted to say that bhakti is women are not less intelligent, because we are empowered in other ways. So my point here is that if you know the real philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, where the essence of it is that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul, and the soul is actually connected to Krishna. So he is definitely making us understand that if you think you are this body, and if you think you are this a woman in a lowly woman's body, then you are yourself disempowering yourself.
Yeah.
Why should we do that? Why should women disempower themselves? So there is no
I'm
question.
powerful.
Huh. Yes,
I
in
mean,
fact,
we're reading it. I mean, we see ourselves as very equal, and obviously, there's
yes.
a lot of yogis who are really into this.
So
And
it affects me as well negatively when I read that.
So in path of bhakti, there is no limitations. Srila Prabhupada made it very clear that as soon as you take to the path of spiritual life or path of bhakti, immediately all these limitations related to this body ends right and there and then. So an intelligent spiritual bhakti woman will not get affected by these kind of statements, because we ourselves in our heart know that we are, spirit souls connected to Krishna, and there is unlimited potential that we can serve. So what to speak of less? We should never consider ourselves less. We are in fact superior in every way. And that's what Indian culture, if you study Indian culture, like I am from the Indian culture, I know here that the women are given the highest position, like Durga, Devi, Parvati. They are the most powerful personalities, So no way does the Indian culture who know the essence of bhakti will ever belittle women because or think that the women are less. So even as women, we should not react on these kind of statements at all. We have to really understand the essence that women are, superior and they are empowered in every way.
Yeah.
That's powerful. If I just saying, if just making sure I'm hearing it right and saying it in the same way. So the essence of the teachings is that we are equal. That's like clear. It says in every other verse in chapter 2. It's like the essence of bhakti is that we're equal. We're pure spirit souls. And then those comments about women being less intelligent are purely talking about really the more accurate way would be less at that time, less philosophically inclined, right?
Yes.
So as you said, more EQ,
Into
emotional.
studying Vedas and all that. So that's why women, Shudras, and they have been categorized together, not to show that they are less, to show that they are not into studying of the Vedic scriptures, learning the mantras, learning the Sanskrit verses. They are not cut out for that because that's not their nature.
Yeah.
But Krishna is saying even they can become excellent in bhakti. Even they are qualified to become the most highest level of bhakti, spiritual level. That's what he wanted to emphasize, not to say that, women are less intelligent.
Yeah. And now time anyways, and things have changed because obviously today there are very brilliant philosophical women and even in your profession, Sita Devi, maybe 50 or 75 years ago, the majority of dentists were men. But even just in this last century, well now, I mean, that's just not the case at all anymore. So it's just an evolution of the times. And and another point you were talking to is that like really the highest yogis, the most glorified devotees and yogis are women. The gopis, Radharani, as you said, Durga, so but it's really important, and I really appreciate Sarah and George asking this question because this does come up for us in the West, and it's important to hear it, and especially from a woman. It's one thing if a man, but it's really powerful to hear it from you. So thank you for sharing that.
That's why we thought we'd ask.
Yeah.
As you're all about women empowerment, we thought we'd empower everybody on the call.
Amazing.
Actually, spiritual women empowerment. I feel that it's not just the rural women who need empowerment. Every woman needs that spiritual women empowerment. From within to find the purpose. Because so many times in the West, women are so delusion because of this propaganda, this story that is being made, that women are less than, and that's why they're always being aggressive, trying to defend that, no, we are not less, we are not less. Instead, if women just understand their spiritual connection to God, their spiritual empowerment, then they will stop, wasting their energy in all these kind of, because truly they will find their purpose in life. Then they don't have to really feel defensive or aggressively trying to prove ourselves that no, we are equal, we are equal to men. No, we are not. We are much greater than that. We are much above all those things. Why are we putting ourselves in a more lower position? That's what I feel. That's why spiritually we really need to empower women to connect to God. The purpose of my women empowerment program is to connect all women, whether Western privileged women or the rural underprivileged women, get them together. When women come together, it just doesn't matter whether they are rich or poor, because I've seen that women have this connection with each other. When I take these the Western yogis to meet these women, they all sit together and they don't know their language, and by the end of 15 minutes they are like taking selfies together and having conversations in different languages, making hairstyles, and for each other they really connect. And that's what is really empowering to women, because we don't we are all, we all benefit from each other. The Western women can get inspired by these rural underprivileged poor women whose homes are much smaller than their bathrooms, our bathrooms sometimes, but they look so blissful, they look so happy and contented. So much, inspiration women can get from that, because we may be so privileged, but we have anxiety issues, we are depressed sometimes. So much to learn from each other. Whereas they, when they see that, women come from West to see their work, appreciate their work, that empowers them, makes them feel valued and worthy of attention, because nobody gives them attention. So that's why what I mean to say is that spiritually we need to, all of us, all women need to come together to uplift each other.
Sure.
That's real women empowerment.
Amazing. I love it. I've got one more question we're going to sneak in here, but Sarah and George, thank you so much. I got to say, Sita, you're going to meet Sarah and George later this year. They're coming to Govardhan Eco Village with us. But let's send some love, high vibes over to Kent, UK. Beautiful, beautiful,
Thank
important,
you. Thank you.
important
Thank
question.
you.
And actually, I'll just mention that. So, Amy, I'd like to bring you on video if you're able, to ask your question. And actually, one thing Amy said, she said, "Great question, Sarah and George. I have the same beef with Christian interpretations of women in the Bible, when in fact Jesus saw everyone equally. So it's really can be a matter of interpretation, and it shows up in different traditions." I'm not sure, Amy, if you're able to come on video, we'll spotlight you. Otherwise, I can read the question. Essentially, she was asking about the role of women in music in kirtan, and how, I've seen you perform kirtan in music, but can you just say a little bit? Okay, no, actually, Amy's on. So we'll bring her. We'll see if we can spotlight you, Amy.
Hi, thanks for bringing me on.
There you are. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, just
Hello,
a
Amy.
wonderful conversation. Hello. Yeah, I was just my last question was just curious about I was trained as a musician and I do a lot of work with music. I'm a lawyer now. I actually help protect a lot of musicians, and I'm looking at ways that music can be used in conflict resolution. And I was curious about the role of women in music, especially given some of the kind of segregation in the past from certain practices.
So, yes, personally, I'm a Kirtan singer, and know, I have seen the power of Kirtan, that when women come together and sing Kirtan and dance together, you know, you can just elevate the whole energy of that place, like the whole vibrations are so powerful. It's actually, sometimes I feel men are feel so threatened when women come together, that? Like
Yeah.
the power, women can be very powerful if they come together. So the best way that we can, connect, as women is through music. Because the fact is that women are not so philosophically inclined. We will not be sitting chanting mantras or meditating for hours. That's not how women are made. We are nurturers, we are givers, we have all these soft qualities. So music is something which is so connecting, to everyone, and it feels, so uh, it's it's very like our nature. Our nature is uh, to be music really connects all of us. So it's very powerful when women come together, and I have seen, that just by coming together and doing these women's circles where we all sing and share, it can bring such an energy, such a empowerment, transformation in people's lives, in the women's life. And I feel one woman empowered can really transform the whole family, transform the whole community, So that's a great need, in today's day and age, that we all come together and connect through music. And spiritual music, kirtan, is the most powerful means to elevate our consciousness, elevate our soul. That is spiritual empowerment.
Absolutely. And that's why I was curious if in the past there had been more of a challenge in trying to convince kind of, men who were kind of leading the efforts with kirtan to include women in that process.
There may be, times where women women who want to sing kirtan have to be like, they don't get a chance, or, these situations happen in the sense that men feel, that there have been like this. But what I mean to say here is that why should we try to again compete?
Right.
Why are we trying to compete? Kirtan is not a performance.
Mm.
Kirtan is glorification of God. We do it for our own personal benefit. We are not doing a performance for getting claps or getting some this. So those who think that kirtan is meant like a performance to get followers and all, let them do that. But we as women who are spiritually empowered women should understand that if we sing kirtan among women, there is no competition.
Mm.
There is only
That's
connection.
powerful. Thank you. Thank you
There
for
is
that.
no competition. There's only connection. And kirtan is meant for connection. It is not for showing, how great singer you are. So why should we waste our energy? Let the people who want to compete or want to lead kirtan, let them do it.
Of course.
Not us. We don't waste our time and energy on things which are not really worth.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's send our love, appreciation to Amy. Actually, Amy, you're also going to be with us. Amy, her husband Danny, their 2 children are all coming to Govardhan Eco Village in November. You're going to get to meet. Hey there, I just heard Danny.
Excited.
But yeah, thank you so much. Beautiful question, Amy. And Sita Devi Dasi, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. Again, your energy and your passion and enthusiasm just comes right through the screen to the other side of the world. And it's such an honor to be your friend and to be on this path with you and to have you as a teacher. And we really look forward to being together later this year. For those who are watching the recording, we're going to share some links underneath for her Instagram, Sita's Instagram, and ways that you can stay in touch. So ways that you can get involved. So,
by the way, Jack, I come every year to US, and I really want to share. And I have given a talk in New York, CUNY College also, and I really would like to connect to the youth in the West, because this is what is the vision of the Govardhan Eco Village, is to spread this knowledge of bhakti. So I come every year, and I'm really looking at different avenues where we can meet more people and connect them to this path of bhakti, where we can sing kirtan, share this, this project of women empowerment and the eco village with people. So I'm open to anybody or anyone who would like to, organize something, so that I can, when I come to the US, we can meet as many people as possible. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. So beautiful. Thank you for your time, Sita Devi Dasi. Everybody who's here live with us and watching, thank you. My friends, we've got another session in an hour. And until we see you again, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Love you. Bye.
You can share my email ID if anybody would like to write to me and give me a feedback of this session. I would really be happy to connect with all of you. Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Thank you.
We'll do that.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.